Hello, and welcome to another sexy episode of Please Me, the podcast that aims to destigmatize conversations about sex and sexual health by turning the sheets into our classroom. I hope you were able to tune in to my last episode with my guest and wine expert, Edwin Olivieri, who gave us a very raw and revealing account of his journey to self love as a gay man in our world. Please go back and listen if you haven't done so already. It was amazing. I just love having these conversations and talking about all the shades of gray that exist in our world. And today, I have the incredible honor to welcome my next guest, who is a renowned figure in the media and has been featured in Bustle, Cosmopolitan, Condé Nast Traveler, Forbes, Men's Health, Oprah, Women's Health, and now Please Me. She is the co-founder and host of the Sisters of Sexuality, Five Shades of Play podcast and has authored the book called An African American Guide to Ethical Non-Monogamy. Her name is Taylor Sparks, and she is not just an erotic educator and dedicated coach specializing in ethical non-monogamy and intimate relationships. She is also the founder of a skincare and cosmetics brand called Organic Lovin', which is the largest BIPOC owned online shop, and I am going to ask her all about that. So, without further ado, I want to welcome the incredibly versatile and talented Taylor Sparks. Wow, I am so awed by your incredible body of work, and I welcome you to Please Me. How are you?
I'm good, Evelyn. Thank you for inviting me. Do I call you Evelyn? Do I call you Evie? Do I call you Eve? Or do I call
So
you
I go by
Mistress?
Eve for the podcast, so you
We
can
go
call
by
me Eve.
Eve. I will call you Eve.
Goddess Eve, whatever you want.
Goddess Eve. That sounds amazing. Hi, thank you so much
Nice.
for having me. Excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. So tell me all about your organic leaven store and what types of products you offer there.
Well, Organic Lovin', LOVEN.com. We specialize in improving adult sexual health and wellness and enhancing their sex lives via our organic intimate body products, body safe sex toys, sex positive books, erotic educational seminars and relationship coaching, and luxury adults only vacations. We started the business. We started the business with actually four products. We had been hired to do, when I say we, I was hired to do a private label line of organic sensual massage oils and body washes for a company called Luxury Lifestyle Vacations. And I was working with them as part of their customer service team for their adults only vacations. So my background is in holistic aromatherapy and is where I'm certified, as well as human behavior. So when it came time to launch their four products, we had no place to sell it because they had a travel agency, and I at the time had an organic skincare for athletes company. So with a little bit of love and support from them, we launched Organic Lovin'. And now we offer more than 1,300 products representing
Wow.
over 250 brands, and we ship worldwide. So I'm no longer a manufacturer. I represent other companies' brands now. So I'm a reseller, if you will. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay. And you mentioned that you have toys on the store too. And I'm just curious because I know what my favorite toy is, and I would love to know what your favorite toy is.
Oh, my personal favorite or business
Yes.
favorite?
No, this your what did you say? Your personal favorite or your
or
what?
my professional favorite, like the business side, like which is my favorite.
Oh, well, you know what? Let's hear them both. I want to hear the personal one first, though.
Well, the personal one, my personal favorite is the Ultra Bullet by Femme Fun. Um, it is small, it is powerful, it has 20 vibration modes. It is waterproof and rechargeable. I like it for its power. I like it because it's small enough to fit in the palm of your hand, and it won't get in the way if you're using it with a partner. So that is probably my favorite, personal favorite sex toy. Um,
Okay.
professionally, I have two favorites.
Okay.
One is for men. It's the Pulse by Hot Octopus, which was
Okay.
originally designed um, for men with spinal cord injuries who
Oh,
had, issues
interesting.
with mobility.
Mm-hmm.
And because it is amazing to help men get an erection. So I have clients that who've had like prostate cancer or, Parkinson's, and they can't use things like Cialis or Viagra, which I don't recommend anyway. It's just horrible for the
Right.
body. Um, so this is a natural way for them to be able to get an erection. So that's my favorite. My number one favorite male product. My number two favorite male product is any Cochrane because that helps a man maintain an erection. So um, I just think those two products are just the best for men. For women, oh my God. God, I don't have it on, but it is um, a bullet necklace by Crave makes one and Lawand makes one, and they come in gold and rose gold because they are discreet.
Yes.
They're very classy to wear with a dress. You can wear it to, your family dinner with your mother-in-law. You can wear it to work and nobody would know. When it gets very stressful
Yes.
at work, you can go to the bathroom and just and take care of that and have a quick orgasm. So those
It's
are
funny that you mentioned that because I've heard so many men tell me that they, you know, go and have a break and go into the bathroom during their workday, not just once, but sometimes multiple times.
yeah.
And it's, very natural to have multiple, erections throughout the day. And for women, that's the first time that I've heard a woman say, you know, you can take care of yourself, at lunchtime at work or whenever you go
Yes.
to the bathroom. And why not? I mean, if you have the urge, and you have a few extra minutes, why not? So we talked about your incredible store, which actually doesn't sound like just a store. You also mentioned that you offer coaching services through that.
Mhm.
Is that through that platform as well?
It
So
is.
can you give me an example of the type of client or clients that you've helped in the past?
Yes, well, single men and women, married couples, both, and or those in committed relationships, both ethically monogamous and ethically non-monogamous. So adults is where my focus is. So I might be coaching on the type of, the best product for them, based on their body, based on the type of sex that they're having, whether that's lubricant, because everything on our site is organic and or eco-friendly. So we don't carry any chemical-based products whatsoever. So sometimes it is helping them get the right product, like I said, based on the sex that they're having. And then when it comes to relationships, we offer courses, of course, and communication. I have a course called Use Your Words. We talk about jealousy and insecurities and envy. So there is a course on jealousy. Um, and then also helping people transition into ethical non-monogamy or through ethical non-monogamy. I've had people come to me that have been either they're new, meaning they're just kind of transitioning from monogamy into ethical non-monogamy, and or those who have been in for some time and they might have kind of hit a rough patch, maybe the boundaries that they set at the beginning, and now they've been in several years and things have changed and one person wants to hold on to the old boundaries and the new person's like, yeah, but that doesn't really make sense anymore for us to do it. So coaching them on those things as well. And then also with regards to setting boundaries, helping people learn how to set boundaries and not borders. Sometimes we,
And not
especially
borders.
and not borders, yeah, we think they're boundaries, but you have to think of, I'd like to quote Esther Perel, borders are what the cement walls are made of that the boat goes through under the bridge in the canal, but
Right.
you want your borders to be more fluid, like the shoreline, meaning that you want to set the borders with your partner, but you also want these borders to be fluid and want your partner to be able to make the best decision for themselves at the time that they need to make it, while, of course, considering you as their partner. But at the end of the day, they have to do what is best for themselves.
I like that perspective, and I had another podcast recently with Lexi Silver who said, I strongly encourage everyone to reassess your boundaries as often as you think is necessary, to allow you to create that relationship that really works for you at that moment in time, and 3 years ago or 5 years ago, or even 3 months ago or 5 months ago, things may have changed. So it is really nice to have that visual of a fluid boundary that can be changed over time. And that's
Mm-hmm.
not so set in stone like a wall,
Yes, yeah, it's definitely true. And you know, we sometimes we get stuck in the mire and the muck of things, We're like, no, we said that we were not going to talk to people not, from our home, or we said that no one could call you without coming through me first, and it's like, yeah, but when I first got into the lifestyle with my now former husband, we our boundaries were like, we had a list of, I swear, 20 things. It was like, we couldn't, have sex with anybody in the whole state of North Carolina. Like the whole
Wow.
state was off, oh, I was off limits, right? No spending the nights, no family members, no hotel staff, no it was, always condoms, no falling in love. I mean, just like da, 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 da. By 13 years later, it was kind of like, I think the only boundaries we had left were like no animals and no children. It was like it was like
That's a big transformation.
well, we a lot of times we set the boundaries because we're trying to protect the relationship, you know, and as time moves on, you really start to understand that the relationship does not need to be protected, and nobody can steal somebody that does not want to go, and you cannot make someone stay that is ready to leave. So you have to kind of let your partner and allow yourself to be autonomous, all the while
Yeah.
considering your partner, but you still wish to be, autonomous. So, yeah.
I love that concept. I really do. When we talked on the phone, I got all excited about your book and the difference between, say, Ethical Slut and your book and an African American Guide to Ethical Non-Monogamy. And we
Mm-hmm.
talked briefly about the history of relationships in the African American community.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's so exciting because for me, like history obviously plays out over and over. Can you touch upon the history here and how the history has affected the way that relationships are formed today?
Yeah, well, I first talk about the history of marriage in itself. Marriage is a social construct. It
Yes.
was initially wasn't even something that the church was involved in, except for those on the kings and queens levels. But it was a contract. Your parents had a beautiful daughter named Eve and 100 acres of land and 200 sheep, and then the neighbor 5 miles away had a son, and they had 300 acres of land and 100 cows. And when you two came together, it was to strengthen the bonds of these two families, to have children, to help work the land that you now have together, which is, doubled in size. And it wasn't about love. And this is why most again, were arranged, because
Mm-hmm.
love makes you stupid. So they were like, you don't need to be in love. And your marriage wasn't based on love, or it wasn't the center of your world. It wasn't all consuming with your passion. A lot of times your passion was with the quilting girls, or it was the stable boy. It was, you married this man, for to better yourself, not to, let him be everything to you. But today, your husband, your partner has to be your everything, right? They have to complete you. They're your partner,
Right.
they're your co-parent, they're your travel buddy, they're the accountant, they're your bowling partner, your salsa partner. They have to be everything to you. And it's very rare to find one person that will fulfill all of your needs. And
Absolutely.
and love didn't even, if people were lucky, love came into play. But a lot of times it was, again, this structure, and this is how families are developed. And you were lucky if you did find love, and over time a lot of people did find love. So in the African American community, as African Americans, we were brought here against our will. And mind you, a lot of women who were kidnapped were between the ages of 15 and, say, 25. A lot of them were already married. Some of them already had children when they were brought here to the US. And marriage in Africa was, like a lot of other countries, this very serious stronghold, familiar thing. And you come here to the United States, and now you were not considered a person, and you were only married at the will of your master. And even if you are married, your spouse, your husband could, be, farmed out, loaned out to another plantation for a year, 2 years, 3 years. And mind you, as we were property, the more babies we had, the wealthier the plantation owner is, because that's more property that he owns. It's like having more cows, or having more sheep, or having more land. So now your husband is farmed out to another plantation, and that master may say, well, while you're here, I got a gal over here that needs to have some babies. So you are going to marry her and have some babies with her. So here you have a polyamorous, polygynous, polygamous type situation going on, even polyandry, because the same could be happening to the wife that was left on the first
Right.
plantation. So then the Civil War happens. Then now, so many African Americans, so many slaves are now trying to legitimize their marriages to become part of the United States, to infiltrate as humans and be recognized as humans. But the laws, if you will, the Freedmen's Bureau sent agents out to legalize us, and they decided all that stuff, that heathen shit you were doing on the plantation, ain't going to work now. The Bible says you can only have one wife, and the agent would decide which one you married. 9 times out of 10, they made you marry the one you had the most children with, even if that was the second or third one. And the other women who had children with this man previously, or at the time, were left to their own accord. So here they are at the end of the Civil War. They now have no protection, no husband, no job. They can't write a contract as women. They can't own land as women. Most of them ended back up in the same situation they were in back on the plantation, because they had no place to go. So I say all that to say, when some of us are looking at our lives and being drawn towards ethical non-monogamy, we have to take into consideration behavioral epigenetics. So for people who don't, epigenetics is what controls the DNA. It doesn't change it. It's how the DNA is expressed. So just the way you're during the time of your multiplying cells as an embryo in the womb, when it was time to express what color your eyes were going to be, and there was a choice between brown or blue because of your parents, epigenetics decided brown, or your hair would be black, or your hair would be blonde. So the same thing in behavior, that stress, that happiness, that thought process is passed through us through our genes from our great great grandparents, parents, 7 generations, it's been discovered. So some of us are drawn towards ethical non-monogamy because there's a pretty good chance that somewhere in our lineage, through our parents' lineage, some of our parents might have been, whether by force, whether by choice, but they settled upon it. And here we are.
That is so interesting. And,
Mhm.
I've been learning a little bit more about my ancestry through a family member who's very
Oh,
interested in
nice.
that. And it turns out that, my great, I don't know how many great grandfathers, the
Uh-huh.
one who came from Europe to Puerto Rico to, populate the island, that was the purpose, was to populate the island. And he sure populated the island. And so
Okay.
he had multiple relationships with multiple women who, so that is my personal history, just looking at, a small, ancestry of myself. And so it's interesting that you say that because, monogamy is what society is pushing on us. But if you look a little bit further back and not even very far, you
Mhm.
see that non-monogamy, has been around forever, and
It still is. A quarter of the world's population still practices some form of either polygamy, which is more than one spouse, and under polygamy we have polygyny, one husband, more than one wife, and polyandry, one wife, more than one husband, which is practiced to this day in areas of Nepal, China, and some parts of Africa, specifically Nigeria. And it's legal still. In Nepal specifically, they have something called fraternal polyandry, where the wife marries brothers, and she marries
wow.
brother. Yeah, she marries brothers in order to keep the land in the family, because when brothers get married, they take their piece of land and they move on to the
Mm.
new family. So in order to keep the family's wealth, she marries brothers. And some people going, I know, but isn't the genes all mixed up? Like, no, no, no. The brothers didn't marry each other. It's she has an egg. Each brother has a different sperm, so it doesn't mix up the kids at all. I'm like, it's not. She's marrying the brother, so it's totally okay. So yeah, but that's my preferred love style, polyandry. One husband, more than one husband.
More than one husband. Okay.
Yes.
And I was actually going to ask you a little bit later, but maybe we'll jump to that right now.
Okay.
Um, I love that, your personal relationships has gone through phases of ethical monogamy and ethical non-monogamy, and you have explored relationship options outside of the norms of our society. Can you first tell me about your mantra and how it ties into relationships for you? And then I would love to know about what you just mentioned, polyandry, and how this is your preferred relationship style, to have more than one husband. And tell me about your relationship currently if you don't feel uncomfortable talking
No,
about personal stuff.
I'm an open book. I
Okay.
think I've told everybody. I don't think anybody there isn't anything people don't know about me now. I just
Right, right.
what my mantra is to love boldly, deeply, purely, organically. I mean, it's part of my life. I'm plant-based. Um, and I think that love in itself, it's infinite, right?
Yes.
And the mantra of love is love. And even though people think, yeah, but romantic love is not the same as loving your dog or your cat, or romantic love, being in love is not the same as loving, your kids, because y'all people give the example like, well, you have more than one child. If you have, how do you love more than one child? And some people actually don't love more than, even though they have three or four, they really only love one, but we won't point them out. But it is possible. And we have somehow put a hierarchy on romantic love, making it
Mm-hmm.
seem more important than the love of a child or a love of an animal. And it is not. So this is why I do tell people to love boldly and to love deeply. And I say love deeply because this is the only life that we have. And, even if there is reincarnation, what if you die and you come back, as a leaf on a tree and you live 3 days and then it's over, right? you would
Right.
have you would have missed out on all of this thing called human life, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. So loving deeply, I know so many people that have been hurt by love and they refuse to be in love again. And I'm like, I'm not going to let one asshole screw up my ability to love. I'm just not, I'm hurt. You pat yourself up and you keep it moving because love is it's an amazing thing. So of the different relationship styles, my husband and I, monogamous for the first 12 years. And then we opened our relationship into the 12th year. And so we started open, kind of doing everything separately. And then we kind of backed into the swinging, and we did that for many years, actually. And then I got introduced to polyamory and kink, right? And I'm like, oh my God, I met this couple. I'm in love. We're going to be polyamorous. He's like, wait, what? We're doing what now? So I'm like, I want a boyfriend. No, I want three boyfriends and a dom. No, wait, I am a dom. He's like, I don't want a girlfriend. I'm like, okay, that's fine. We're not attached at the hip. You do you, I'll do me. It'll be great. So yeah, so for a while there, I had a husband and three boyfriends.
Okay.
So now people go, that's a lot of men, I'm like, well, actually only one boyfriend lived locally. The other two lived in different states. So they were more like comet lovers. You only saw him once every few months. I was like, yeah, you see him for a weekend, and then you don't see him for a few more months. But yeah, and then kind of COVID hit, and then everything kind of dissipated and went its own way. I mean, I still have one comet lover, but I'm looking for three new boyfriends. Yes.
Okay. We're putting it out there into the universe. Why
Yes.
not?
There's one I have on my radar. I'm like, where are you? Come to me. You know who you are. It was a guy I met. So I travel a lot for business, and every now and again I'll pop into Bumble or Tinder or Field or something. And I matched with this guy, or this guy matched with me, but I didn't see it until I was back home. And I don't know what state he was in or what country he was in when we matched. Now I'm like, hey, come back. We're a perfect match. And I'm like, I don't know where he is. It's crazy, I know.
Well, it's nice to have options and and go and hashtag goals, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So maybe we will hear about that in the future. See if he's circled back and you've found that next love of your life. Love is
The
love,
next three
and
loves.
as you said, yes, the next three loves, and love is infinite. And if you have that much love to give,
I do.
why not?
I do.
Some people can limit their love because they don't have enough time, or they don't want to dedicate that much time to all of the love that they can potentially give out to others. It doesn't make sense for everybody, but for
No.
those that can, and like you said before, not one person can check every single one of your boxes. That's a whole lot of pressure to put on one
Yes,
person.
it is.
So if one person can do this for you and another person can do that for you, and you are taken care of in so many different ways by that, I think it's hey, why not? I think it's a beautiful thing. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's true. Love is infinite, but time is not. You can only love as many people
Right.
as you have time for. Like I said, it's easy if you only got, two people in one city and you got other people in other cities, then you're not really trying to. And also all of my other partners had partners. So it wasn't like they were sitting waiting for me to, to fill a slot. They also had lives and busy. So that, really kept the stress and the pressure down, trying to fit in a lot of time. They also were busy, so I need busy partners because I'm busy, so it works really well.
That works for you. Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, finding people that have things in common with you. They often say opposites attract, but really, commonalities are really what are going to bring you together and keep you together because you want to do those common things together, and if
Yes.
one of your, if your primary partner hates hiking, but you love hiking,
Are
why
you
not
supposed to
find
not
another,
hike for the rest of
huh?
your life? Are you not supposed to hike for the rest of your life?
Exactly, if that's something that you absolutely love. So why not find somebody that, really loves that too and can share that with you, that bond with
Yes.
you. So that's a beautiful thing. And, you know, that's just an analogy for so many other other
Yes,
things that
yes.
we won't go into right now. But in our communications before, you mentioned that you had returned from speaking on a cruise, I believe. And
Yes.
it sounds like you travel the globe offering your incredible wisdom. I want to know about what types of things what are the course, titles of, what you're doing overseas or on the cruise, and tell me what
Mhm.
sorts of things you're teaching.
Oh, wow. Well, some of the ones that the same areas I coach in, but I teach a class,
Mm-hmm.
seminar called Spanking for Lovers, Your Ass or Mine. It is
Okay,
it
fun.
is an aspiring seminar, and it's BYOB. You got to bring your own behind. So it is very fun, but it's an introduction to erotic spanking and how to add erotic spanking into into your relationship. So it's a little less BDSM, but and all you need is hands. And so I show you how to do that. That's always fun. It is a lot of fun because there's always some bottom that wants to be spanked. And when I'm looking for volunteers, I'm like, you have to understand that your whole bottom needs to be out to the audience. And then people are like, okay, okay, okay. And so yeah, I showed them the different hand movements, closed, open, cuffed, um, the different ways to spank with regards to speed, frequency, and how often that you touch the bottom, how to add different things in like hair pulling, choking, deep kisses, bites, scratches, pinches, even if you will, and on different parts of the body, how to double spank. So it's a hell of a fun class, and it's as exciting for me, the spanker, as a spankophile, I think, as it is for the bottom who volunteered to be spanked. So that one, I teach one on jealousy called Jealousy, Understanding the Intersection Between I Love You and F Off. And that really, that really does cover not just jealousy, but jealousy, insecurities, envy, and understanding the differences between them. I give them a diffusion, uh, a jealousy diffusion blueprint, if you will, so that they can figure out a way to diffuse the emotions that they're having, in a strategy for them to do so when they feel triggered by the end of that seminar. I also teach one called How to Make Good Pussy Better.
How to
So
make what?
good
Say that again.
pussy better,
Better.
better. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
that one talks about the benefits of using organic intimate body products like lubes and massage oils and clitoral stimulants and the different sex toys, what ingredients to stay away from for both men and women. And then right in the middle of that, we do a lovely live demo on Liberator bedroom adventure furniture, Liberator sex pillows and shapes. So I get to pull people up out of the audience and I sit on them and they sit on me and I squat over them and they squat over me. And we show them how to use these for two sums and three sums and four sums and more sums. So
Okay.
that is fun. Um, what else do I teach on the seminars? And so and I may not teach the same thing on every seminar. It varies. Um, when your hips don't lie, sex positions for all body types. That is strictly just Liberator sex pillows and shapes and how to incorporate them in the bedroom. I think I talked about use your words. That's one on communication and how to communicate better in ethical non-monogamy. I also teach one on setting boundaries. So that's a lot, a lot. So
Is a lot. I don't even know
about
where to go from
three.
there. There's so many questions I have on all of those.
So I teach about usually depending on the cruise, or if it's like a 4-day weekend hotel takeover, I may only teach 2 over the weekend. I bring products to sell as well. And I do it, on luxury lifestyle vacation cruises, their hotel takeovers, splash takeovers. Um, oh my gosh, I haven't gone back to Naughty New Orleans, but I've done several years of Naughty New Orleans, Bliss Cruise, Non-Lifestyle Sex Expo out of New York, Taboo Sex Expo in Canada, Desire Resorts, Keto, and then over in Europe, Spicy Match. So, yeah, wherever they
There's
want
a
me to
whole
talk.
world out there of fun
Yes,
education to explore for sure. My
yes,
goodness.
it's
I
fun.
haven't explored much at all. So I think I'm going to be signing up for some of those courses pretty soon.
Come on, come
Yes,
on.
absolutely. I might have to volunteer for that spanking one.
Well, see, I can always find the bottom. I got you, girl. I
Yes.
got you.
I think representation is so important for us in the BIPOC community because we need to see each other. We need to see others that look like us talking about these issues that we care about. Can you tell me how your book is representative of this group? And before we do, can you tell me what BIPOC stands for, as others may not be familiar with this acronym? I
Right.
myself had to look it up and I thought, hey, that's me.
Hey, that's me because you're a Latina. See?
Yes, exactly.
Yes, yes, yes. So BIPOC, also referred to as BIPOC, stands for Black Indigenous Person of Color, or Black Indigenous People of Color. So
Mm-hmm.
anyone other than Anglo-Saxon, pretty much, is who it accounts for. Um, so my book, when I first got into the ethical non-monogamy community, I was looking for books for African Americans with regards to swinging, and that was my initial idea. And I've been in the lifestyle ethical non-monogamy community for 16 years now, and there still isn't a book specific to us. And why specific to African Americans? It's because of our history in this country with regards to how our marriages were treated and not recognized. It is because of how our relationships were treated or not treated by white Americans in this country, and how it almost seems as though, white love couldn't exist without the destruction of Black love. I did a lot of research based on the research and the history research of Professor Diane Stewart's book, Black Women, Black Love, as she goes back from the days of slavery all the way up to today, if you will. And one of the focuses about that has a thing about our relationship, African American speaking, is the sexual stereotypes that were put upon us in slavery that still exists to this day. It exists within our community. It exists in the media about us, even the media that even the information that we ourselves put out into the world, right? So for Black women, they are still considered either, Jezebels, right? She's the woman that's going to take your man and fuck your man and steal your man away, and she's loose and just out there doing all kinds of wild shit. You have the just the opposite of that. You have the mammy, right? She is, asexual, sometimes a little unkept, sometimes overweight. You see a recent movie about the mammy stereotype would be Viola Davis's character in The Help, right? Where she's putting everybody else's needs before herself. Um, um, you have, the angry Black woman, of course, a la Michelle Obama, right? Although smart and wonderful, but, angry about everything. You have the sapphire, that's the Black woman that's always flipping her neck and always got something to say, and usually the one that is, demeaning and emasculating Black men in the television shows and movies and the such. For our Black men, you have, the thug, or the brute. He is dangerous. He must be shot or killed or choked to death on sight, because he, will harm, the frail white woman and or white man or our white children. So you have the brute, it's also known as the thug. You have the bull or the BBC, right? The bull is the highly sexual Black man with the large cock, which is, BBC is big black cock. You have women who have the Queen of Spades tattooed on their actual ankles which is a very racist thing because they're controlling BBCs. It's almost like being the mistress of a plantation.
Right.
And so some men, like all Black men have, big dicks, and like, no, they all do not. I can vouch. They all don't. But they're fetishized in that way. And of course, and then you have, kind of the lazy step and fetch it kind of guy who's not going to amount to nothing, can't keep a job, got 14 baby mamas, don't take care of none of them. And those sexual stereotypes still exist. So, I highlight those in the book for us to even take a look at ourselves to see that these stereotypes have been put upon us and are still perpetuated to this day, and how we can look in other directions. And just because we want to be ethically non-monogamous or we are drawn towards that type of relationship or love style doesn't mean we fall into any of these categories, you see. And, even though the end result is still the same, meaning we want love, we want relationships, we want children and to grow a family and a kingdom and a queendom. Our approach to it is a little different because of our history as Africans in America and what has happened to our relationships throughout the last several hundred years. So, but the book as a whole, anyone will benefit from because it covers not just those particular areas, but it covers things like boundaries and consent. It covers the differences between open relationships, swinging relationships, polygamy, polygyny, polyandry, and polyamory. There's a lot of overlap in social media, and people are overlapping one with the other and misunderstanding the differences and how they function. So, although the book is for us because we don't have representation in this media and in this community that way, is why I wrote it. But anyone could read this book and will benefit from it if they're considering or are already in an ethical non-monogamous relationship. They'll just learn something more about how African Americans' relationships have formed or been bond.
I love that. It's so important, to look at ourselves in our, our race and our, and really like all of the brown skinned people, if you kind of add us all together, we do make a very powerful group, and
sure.
Having that representation is so, so important. I am going to repeat the mantra that you wrote in your email to me.
Okay.
It says, give as much love as you want to receive, embracing love in all its forms. And this is what we're talking about here, embracing love in all its forms. Yes. There are so many forms of love, and all the forms are beautiful and have purpose in our lives. I like to view my life as a canvas, and that I alone get to create. And you talked about, being autonomous. Every person is autonomous. Even though you choose to be in a relationship, you still have your own life, and you are autonomous in that life and how you choose to move forward in it. I was talking about, all of the different types of, love that we can express, whether it be for a pet or whether it be for, your lover or your husband or your girlfriend or, whatever relationship you choose to have. Talk about, can you or touch upon a little bit about how you view autonomy in a relationship? Because a lot of times people get into a relationship and think, okay, now I'm in this relationship and this is what my life is going to be about. This
Mm.
relationship, everything, all of my energy is going to focus on putting my energy into this relationship. And then, they can sort of lose sight of their own purpose, their
Yes.
own self. So, talk about autonomy within a relationship.
Yeah, so we've been led to believe by starting back in the 1800s with as the romantic era kind of ushered in and love took precedence in the relationship, moving forward through the romantic movies, romantic comedies, where people needed to complete you with the thought process that you were half a person looking for another half a person to complete you. When in fact,
Yes,
you are a whole person seeking
yes,
another whole person to make a whole relationship. So, first, letting go of the thought process that you're not whole. You are an individual who is responsible for your own happiness. Your partner is not here to make you happy. Your partner is not responsible for your emotions. They're not even responsible for the words that come out of your mouth or your actions. It is you and you alone that is responsible for your own happiness and your own bullshit. Because we all bring bullshit to the table, right? We all got some shit from the past we're dragging along with us. Yeah, that we
right,
haven't quite let go of. Now, can your partner make a happy environment for you? Yes. Can they make an unhappy environment, meaning the environment that you share together, whether that be a physical environment like a home or the environment of the relationship? Yeah, they may have some influence on how the environment is, but ultimately, you have to look at yourself and go, I'm happy because of the things I have chosen to do for myself. Love in itself is a choice, right? You choose to love someone, just like you can choose not to love someone. So you chose to love this person. And in doing so, as an autonomous person, you have to then choose what is best for you within the context of the relationship, not what's going to make them happy. And I think some of us are not happy because we've taken our eyes off of ourselves and put it on our partner. So if you look within and go, all these things that I'm doing, I'm happy. And then your environment around you is happy. If you're happy and your partner's happy because you're doing the things that make you each of you happy, then meaning internally, then you have room to contribute to your partner's happiness. You see, to support your partner's happiness, not be responsible for it. And I think a lot of us kind of get stuck again in the mire and the muck by thinking, I'm just not happy and it's my partner's fault. And it's not your partner's fault. It's you have to do the things that are best for you. And sometimes the things that you decide that are best for you will not make your partner happy.
right.
Um, it won't make your children happy when you decide, you know what? Today, mama ain't doing shit. Mama's going out with the girls, or mama's going to get her hair and nails done and get a massage, or mama's going to take herself for lunch, and no one is going with me. I'm going, oh, well, I want to go. No, 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 no. I'm going. Well, how come I can't go? Because I don't want you to go. And understanding the difference between honest communication and authentic communication is so important, especially in the relationship. Sometimes we're honest with our partners, but we're not authentic. Meaning, honest communication is, you mentioned the facts. Yeah, nah, that this is this and this is that, and that's how that works. And there it is. But authentic communication is really being vulnerable, saying things that might, in fact, maybe hurt your partner's feelings a little bit. And I always say they're not going to just melt to the floor into a big puddle because you said you enjoyed something or didn't enjoy something, but you were being authentically yourself. But that gives them an opportunity to grow and discuss their feelings. And, a lot of times in monogamy, we're not authentically communicating with our partner, nor have we learned to do so. So it's,
Yes.
it's,
Withholding a lot of information,
yeah,
not giving
not,
all of the information. Absolutely. So many reasons, why in monogamy or in any relationship you can kind of withhold and not be fully authentic. That's so true. And that's so important, to really create that special bond that you want with your partner. You really do truly need to be authentic and
mhm.
honest. So I like it's interesting how you form like a difference between those two things and so I do like that. I'd love to explore that more with you another time.
Sure, sure.
But we are sort of coming to the end of our time at this point, and I can't believe it's gone by so quickly.
It
It's been
did.
such an honor to talk to you today and for you to share some of your knowledge with us. I want to be sure that our guests can reach you and your store and your coaching and just to say hi. And one of those three lovers might be out there,
Yes.
raising their hand. So I
Let's
want
fill
to
in the
make sure that they can.
application.
Yes, exactly. Put in that application. And I love that you have a form. So please let them know where they can find you.
You can find me on my website and all social media at Organic Lovin, Loven. And the website is organiclovin.com. My podcast is Sisters of Sexuality. And we're on all platforms: iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Anchor, Alexa. You can find me there as well. Sisters of Sexuality podcast. So there it is.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And in the words of Taylor Sparks, I'm going to leave you with her mantra again.
Ah,
Give as much love as you want to receive, embracing love in all its forms. If any of what I said resonated with you today or of what Taylor said today, please leave me a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify and consider following me on your social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok under Please Me. Until next time, bye
thank
bye.
you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much, Taylor.